To my mind, I'm quoting verbatim. To my mind, this means that if a person is required by the law to perform a specific official function or duty in a particular way, but fails or neglects to do so, then the person may be said to have misbehaved in that regard.
Yeah, but that would be an orbiter, isn't it?
No. This is the ratio for her to have come to the conclusion that the petition for the removal of Charlotte Osei disclosed a prima facie case. Now also defining what is stated misbehavior. No, her say petition in miti on the face of it. There is a case to answer a meet that definition of stated misbehavior. So this is the meaning of the two stated misbehavior. Also, to my mind, this means that if a person is required by the law to perform a specific official function or duty in a particular way, but fails or neglects to do so, then the person may be said to have misbehaved in that regard. And demanding what is stated misbehavior, your precedents are defining in line with the same Article 146. And dear number nugusu I made sure and say Article 146 and they say dear pese ye two chief justices are there son. On for petition come on penny. And in so ye stated misbehavior or incompetence. Over that decision ni muswa ye define incompetence under Article 146. Now on penny ni petition na only Council of States yaka Council of State a wunim enye ekwoketu Ghana penyinfo ebi ahemfo akese ayato abayi omo se omo ye penyinfo a omo wo nyansa nti omo nkutu o man penyinfo omo nya ndisi omo nya mpp e no mote wo e wo so man penyin ni omo dwen ho se kwadu a ye de abo chief justice no on the face of it no abawom ana abanim sa abawom a akanfo ka sa abawa asem bi mu a na je sa asem no just say ye mu hwehwemu prima facie ya ka nyina na de na kire enkire so bi difo ana obi di bem de kire nyina ne se kwadu ya nipa kroi ni nkro ya wabeboyi ene de abo no kwadu no so na no yi a wode abe wo hwe a asem bi wo ho e wo se hwehwemu ana obeyi ano ana prima facie ni nyina no and the president na nyo no nko na take this decision no on the Council of State ya mpanyufo kuku da yi nyina wom omunya ndisi omunya mpp na kwotena se no ko tie omafutuo ni omadwe nkyere owi a ono so do na de ato ho so hwe na asem na ba wo mu a na wo se ye mu hwehwemu a na afeidie wa refer asem nyo no mampanyi ne behwehwem e de akoma ba so ku a nipa ewo mu ye enum 5 member committee
no mampanyi be put it together. Now committee ni mu mienu e was omo ye justices of the superior court. Na emu miensa de omo nye lawyers, omo nye members of the Council of State, omo nye mrase bedwafo. Into ordinary Ghanaians miensa. So on say na constitution omo si twere no. Na omo na be kwa kwotena asem no so adomu asoko atie obi ano ayo omo hwehwemu. Na omo de omo decision aba say chief justice no yentu na de so anama yentu na de so. Ejo mampanyi Mahama betena konwa so wonka bi hyem maami aye ka ne ho asem chief justice eye getu toko no o mampanyi akufo ado penso mpo petitions bebre ba se yentu na de so enye president Mahama ne ba ya na obi di petition akoma no mebo ana. That's true.
From president akufo ado penso petitions ni bi wo ho ayante ho asem
say nwosa wote ho asem.
No, when the president makes the prima facie determination, whether positively or negatively, he must communicate it to the petitioner. In some cases, they were ignored. The petitions were not even acted upon. Professor Kwekwaza and Bako Koena or Mampinidin Nanu Yeba say Wabishim Ababi Nimua, Esefata say Yakoyushim. But there were several petitions for the removal of this particular chief justice, even under the MPP. President Mahama Baye Miensa. Now, conform the petition now Konobi. These are not even politicians. And Crawford, what do you never come? So almost say a process and you say you pick. Young Canabontin, you have a Canabontin so.
But how Canabontin so are you are?
Now, president.
Menkasa way.
They said your MPP voting you could intercept petitions and they better abonte.
No, I said there are rumors.
Made a new rumor. Get through talk or no.
Yes.
Suspended Chief Justice. Now no year to all the petitions. I've intercepted it.
You have intercepted.
Oh, I've intercepted. And you can once more.
Now, do you have the petition itself?
Oh, massa. Media me say the free anti-getty hono, anti-Araba hall. Eba mampini Mahama on a new run am intercepted. The woman. And now bet was once more. I'll be. Tell me, sir. Encrofo your modi petitions na kono. Encrofo a omo do Ghana omo hu se maame na ye bibie tia Ghana mra. Na eni se Chief Justice yes sir. Encrofo a maame na nkasa wode ntanchi adi omo ya. Utie bi asem a wo betiti ni suo. Ntanchi a
maame na sitting as a sole judge.
Oh, enye judge asem.
A president of
enye judge asem
which.
Tie.
Well, cause maame na
ntanchi a wode adi omo yes. And no modest petition ya come on penny Mahama. But penny Mahama say boy me meet me baby. Me bu me mai. Na we am akofa be. Council of State say man penny unti me nkasa o. Nobody is above the law. The Chief Justice is not above the law. She's under the law. Article 146 here clear. Petition is back for the removal of the Chief Justice. I was say oji adwin free ho. As to whether or not as a there is a prima facie case to be determined. The president follow the law or Koma Council of States or the petitions in Council of States. In fact, also permission from the Council of States and Sakran offer where the petitions now I'm the Chief Justice at the time. And Sana Chief Justice Edina New Year then Yedi Kayeba. And Sana also what the piece to supplementary response. Also the behind Abekao. No man pay me response in the Koma Council of State. Council of State Quatanasia, Omoya 31. Emumu Duasa 30 of them. Say mami, baby. They are okay, they have many petition where they are papa. Nipa 30 out of 31.
How did you know?
Oh, Makacho, go and do your checks. Me see my intercept. 30
voted for.
I have for Cassia. Just say, to be on your politics impo. Me pesa woti adebiase because MPP for ne kasa. They talk as if say obi mpe ma amena say na politics inti. Masa udi bone na ukru ayema na ukru ayema o.
Omo kasa because of nsema amu kan in opposition. Say ma we dey ba akọ.
Na NDC ni bia file petition. NDC ni bia file petition. NDC jo ma na say General Mosquito na Sammy Gyemfi na General Secretary of NDC ko gina he fan de ka say ye ba ma me ne beko. Ye gina he de ka za. Ye me petitioner. Me the petition akọ say ye mpa mo ma me araba na. Omo amami di ntanchi adu omo ni to obi o ka omo kasa bo ashomu say ye ashomu yem say ye mo omo sambre omusu because this Chief Justice is a demigod and above the law. Na say why ye bibi no obi nim say tia Ghana mra. Ye ntimi invoke the constitution because ono ye special and she's above the law. Is that what people are saying in this country? Are we governed by the rule of law or the rule of the Chief Justice?
What people are saying is because she occupies a very critical position as the head of an arm of government. If a petition is sent for a removal, the grounds should be solid.
Now, who name the grounds of the petition?
Who also intercepted?
Okay, me back. Who now will say the grounds should be solid? It will be answer na meka de minimum. It will be so say Council of States nipa 30 ahemfo.
Yes.
Akuku dan lawyers.
Yes.
Into omunyina mo time your Chief Justice.
Are they all lawyers?
Omunyina mo time.
I know say the former
they don't have to be lawyers. Asabi na muda we yes obe lawyer na be judge.
Establishing prima facie no.
But must you be lawyer?
No.
Prima facie ni say determine say on the face of the petition and the allegations contained therein, there is a case to answer.
But there is a reason why the Constitution said, say, because at every point in the ABA, and your president be a lawyer. And the president alone cannot do that determination if he's not a lawyer. Until then, fall on the Council of State. Because
the reason is not because of lawyer. No, it's not because of that. The president has a lawyer. The Attorney General, who is a lawyer for the government and the president. The Padia president, he gets advice from that. And the reason why the president must consult the Council of State is not because the president may not be a lawyer. No. Or because the Council of State will have members who are lawyers. No.
But if you
hold on. You go step by step.
There
is a prima facie case. Mameno asem.
I also be
Yanka say wodifo. Yes, or was someone. I was away day.
Nipa one now, one voted for no. A former Chief Justice
there be minim.
And they wouldn't him. One intercept
minim. Unimaka. I will be a Canadian. And now person change your kunya na be count there. Me dem see nipa 30. Nipa 30 ni 90 min NDC4. Nipa 30 ni 90 min time Chief Justice. Nipa 30 ni nyina enti min people who are just pursuing a partisan end. You hear my point? Omo nyina say asem na what hwehwem. Mo krono na wuduru kejeti ani e pam kronfo udwane ayeden. Yen ka say wudifo. Ye say ye ba be hwehwe asem. Na se ye be hwehwe asem ni mu dia. Constitution no sounds so can article 146 was say.
Yes.
I was say ye say independent na me kan ho asem. Ye nya yi omo a. Council of State no mo ne tu omampanyi Mahama fo no.
Yes.
Ombetimi atu no fo so omampanyi. Se say aye fitin hwehwemu ya se Chief Justice no. Manentranchen. Tunu sinsen. Na ye di asem ni wi a wa ye den wa beto na dwuma so. Obi di entia ewu hia say yetimi onim say omo mtwe constitution wonim nyansa. Hwe ye ka so be a Chief Justice a. Adwuma wo ye na nya adwuma keto o. Apart from the adwuma wo ye as a judge.
Yes.
Presiding over cases in the Supreme Court no. Ono na the overall administrative oversight over the judiciary. Enti cases are ekoka judge ben na wose okoye adwuma wo ha wan ye transfer no wan ye fa na adwuma case we wose ko ha registrar for asem clerk so omunyina ha hye ma mi ase wo so na wo kwatwe manso yi one kasa petition ni ba ye no with the response ba akọ what's also the supplementary response I had akọ na just the one kasa uji to me say asem bi wo wose wo ye dey we ya no to man penyi Mahama ne Council of State say ye pese ye ma time araba na wa mmere tranche untumi nye Chief Justice na wo ye adwuma hia we ene ye se committee frɛw echina ye se wo ba committee na ye nhwehwemu fa asem ne ho no onya time na wa ye adwuma no she will be distracted onya time enti Chief Justice adwuma no ebe kofom ebe affect attentrene adwuma yiku na wo Ghana no enti na adwuma na wo ye ni is a very busy job na yem peso beka say me combine adwuma mienu nti me nya time bo kra fight case no at the committee and ye mama nko gina nchen na president Mahama yeboa no na want to be nya the peace of mind the focus na on fight case no na say odi bem a on convince committee no omaka so odi bem a abeto na adwuma so problem bi ani ho odi fo so a na committee no
ne be ka
no
na omampanyi
ye tu na de so nti say ye tu na de so ya twe na sensen ye se kwotena nchen na nya time focus on hwehwemu no because one kasa kra no udi kan in 7 days at the response by when sima na san so de foforo by na just won sempa wo ho a e wo say ye ma wo mere
na utimi ede ni nyina
ye dem ba de to so mienu so nti a suspension we e ya de papa ne mani a genese and someone Council of States any omampanyi ediama sa basuku no so mo hwehwemu no eye kwadu a ye de abo Chief Justice ebi eni enyan obi ebi asefem na ebi border on allegations that the Chief Justice has falsified court reports, such reports of the Supreme Court. Into obia yede kwadu sa abono no e kire se eyampa if proven to be true and ye na or the ability to even interfere with the ongoing investigations should she continue to stay in office. The nature of the allegations against her no border on alleged falsification of court documents by the Chief Justice. So how can such a person, how can such a person be allowed to continue to stay in office? And let's all bet temper with evidence just to cover her tracks. And the young person will be a katasu muaso and na asemwa ba ye kwa ko hwemu ntino kwotranchen Obi so hunyan say what decision of John Mahama to suspend my minimum. Man the time no timi focus on her defense. So now face so man ko tranche no wantimi amfa ne wan koye katasumu mu aso bia because no kure no ene ye den ye pe Ghana mamra no ye pese ye sum na mate say me ba no
into on that score no mani musa afi the two questions flowing from there. Number 1 earlier many of my hini AD we home common lawyer Maxwell Opokwadima na obo ni dey nyina o chair in law of evidence or school of law na the message but you know say na ono your lawyer the petitioners against Charlotte say okay say I say legal thinking shows that a prima facie doesn't equate to guilt. We've made that point. I believe the CJ will marshal all the legal arsenal to fight on her behalf. Let me state here and now that when people draw parallels with Charlotte Osei, they forget that the then president didn't suspend her, even after prima facie and notwithstanding protest from the lawyers of the petitioners. The president then, though I disagreed with him, was of the firm belief that suspension was not politically wise. So the petitioners had to battle with their boss, who stayed in office throughout the proceedings.
Obi, I know you're Kufuado taking the decision. We President Mahama taking the decision. You see, Council of State, the allegations against Charlotte Osei and Gertrude Tokono are not the same. Charlotte Osei was not accused of falsifying any document. Gertrude Tokono has been accused of falsifying court documents. I'm going to explain it to you very soon. And say Yampadia, if true, they say, oh, you're dangerous. She should not be anywhere close to the seat of justice.
Oh, you're dangerous.
No, if true, if it is true, there, or you're danger. I was saying, who know you done? Oh, where do you want to be made kind of saying, Atemwo akumya no baby akra. Say you no cry. If true, or you're danger to the rule of law.
But an allegation of the breach. Hold on. In the case of Charlotte Osei, the allegations were on breaches of the Procurement Act. Breaching an act, you think it's not?
If you breach an act, was she accused of falsifying a document? Me say, mami, we are accusing to say we falsify court documents. Charlotte Osei, you can say we falsify documents, Anna. How can Charlotte Osei? How could she have interfered with non-compliance with procurement law? How could she have interfered with that? But where the matters in question are matters that the Chief Justice she can influence it.
My second,
and I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you until the Nyanto was here. Then where your Chief Justice and some done so me say 3 petitions. Charlotte said there 1 petition. Wait 3. Now 3 petitions in the balcony. It is a charge sheet. You will count 1, count 2, count 3, count. And you hear more time. Ohiya concentration. And you want to say me wow tranche let me because this is a fight of your life. If indeed she wants to fight it, maybe I may know I can throw in the towel and resign. Knowing what I know. Your kwasem wumua and your papa mano. But say she's entitled to that. Let her have a day. So let her have the peace of mind to do that. And let me put it on record, say, from the time our president in Saka petition to the time our Chilekwama Council of State seeking the advice to forward the petitions to the Chief Justice for her to respond. From the time we receive a response and the supplementary response and forwarding it to the Council of State, to time our Council of State a man on the advice say there is a prima facie case, no one wants to make his decision. To the time of the article committee, to the time of the suspension, everything has strictly conformed to the Constitution.
And that is where the issue is. I know the second question there, but Sammy, if you read Article 14610, the Constitution says the President acting on the advice of the Council of State.
So go slow. So it is not the president who just wakes up and say, I'm suspending somebody. He must act
on the advice.
No, not on the advice.
Okay.
You see,
in consultation
on the appointment of judges. He acts on the advice.
On the advice, sure.
But no, not in consultation. 14610.
14610.
In accordance with. So the language is very strong. 14610. Go there. In accordance with. The president acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State may suspend the Chief Justice.
Okay, until let me
in accordance with
the exact way.
So it is not on advice has been on the advice of the council has been interpreted. It is permissive, it's not compulsory, right?
Sure.
It's not binding. But look at the way the framers couched this language. They knew what they were doing. Acting in accordance with. He's still giving a discretion.
Yes.
But it must be in accordance with
advice.
He himself cannot decide to suspend. But if the council tells him to suspend, he may or may not accept it. What do you say?
Yes.
But at all times, it must be in accordance with advice.
Okay. Inti Sammy Mamin kind and then I'll ground
14610. Yes.
In 14610.
Yes.
Where a petition has been referred to a committee under this article, the president may in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice.
In accordance.
Good.
Yes.
This is the wording of this provision.
Yes.
But there is the president may. The argument has been made, say, may ne want to say a discretionary. Hold on, Sammy. Hold on. You are not talking to me. You are talking to the Ghanaian people in the trouble. The argument has been made, said the may then means say a discretionary. When you move to Article 296 of the Constitution, in the exercise of discretionary powers. The Constitution also says, and my exceptions mean, when the person is a judge or a judicial officer, then but say on your judge and as a judicial officer in exercising discretionary powers, it should be done in accordance with some regulations. The question is that the president is not a judge, the president is not a judicial officer. Where is the regulations are all follow to suspend the Chief Justice?
Obi, this question it is cluzu and yemamiu.
Okay.
The decline say lawyer MPP lawyer Nina will make his argument. This is a very uninformed, illiterate view.
I didn't hear.
Number two, so the flow from this question is you be says oyas argument when we nipa mu nyatwompa.
I didn't hear.
You're starting free, then tell me say you're uninformed. This article 296C of the Constitution has been pronounced upon, has been interpreted by the Supreme Court of Ghana. Are you aware?
Yes. The
Supreme Court has pronounced on it.
Yes.
In the case of Ransford, France, the 2013 case, Ransford, France versus the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
Electoral Commission, a creative 45 constituencies.
Sure.
And a Ransford, France, a call Supreme Court to say, easy for a creative constituencies, Article 55(1) and more have power.
Yes.
Is a discretion. The Electoral Commission may. What do you say?
Sure.
Exercise of discretionary power, and therefore they should have published regulations.
Yes.
As required by Article 296C. What am I saying? And some of me critique constituencies.
Yes.
The Supreme Court said no. Speaking through that no. That 296C in say anywhere discretionary power is conferred on somebody, there must be published regulations. No. Read it. Anybody listening to me, you can Google it. I just Googled, I saw a case summary. In the 2013 case of Ransford, France versus the Electoral Commission, the Supreme Court ruled that the Electoral Commission had the discretionary power to create new parliamentary constituencies. The power outlined in Article 51.
And
power to create, which is discretionary. And 296C of the Constitution, which says, when you're judge and a juror, now a discretionary power is conferred on you. You must do that in accordance with regulations.
See, where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, there shall be published a constitutional instrument or statutory instrument, regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power.
And the way the Supreme Court pronounced it upon 2013 in the Ransford France case, and it said that the power outlined in Article 51 and 296C of the Constitution was not limited by the absence of specific regulations. Was not limited, and the court says once the exercise of discretion is not arbitrary and is within the powers of that body or that person. To be in Kase, you publish regulations in the young constitutional.
But how do you know?
So you should go and read that case.
How do you know? Say we know any
So what that means is say it is not in all cases, and I was say
there should be a publication.
There should be a publication of regulations before you exercise discretion.
Yes.
And so you cannot be a lawyer and say once 296C says that to exercise discretionary power as a non-judge or non-juror, you must publish a constitutional instrument or statutory instrument and regulations. Once you didn't do that, you have breached the constitution. You don't understand what you're saying. The Supreme Court has pronounced on that, and will be show how arbitrary this suspension of the Chief Justice is. How arbitrary is it? The Council of State Eddie Selfutuana president Enti Manintiana Enti Chief Justice and my man Kwenya say on focus on the Juma. You are suspending Ani Apamonana. On focus on the petition before the committee. Bonne we crumpon measures the Chief Justice or the one said that
argument to that say and lawyer Ewa makes the point the Chief Justice is the people's Chief Justice who go through Parliament of Ghana and then he becomes Chief Justice or be a Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. It should not so happen say on the whims and caprices of a president, obetimi suspending the keke. And Minister of Free said the regulation will spell out what is stated misbehavior, for example. And then to guide the Council of State.
You don't need, who told you need regulations to know what is stated misbehavior? Now lawyers, Moya's argument way. Who told you? You don't need regulations to define words. There are canons of interpretation on how to define words. So who told you need to publish regulations and in the answer regulations in what is stated misbehavior? Who told? Is that the use of regulations?
Which is that
regulations are not even used to define words.
Will be approved by Parliament.
Regulations are not even used to define words.
It spells out procedure.
Yes. So we went from the issue of regulation and what constitutes stated misbehavior. You cannot tell you. So regulations spell out procedure. Then why are you saying we need regulations to know what the meaning of stated misbehavior is? In the case of Charlotte Osei, she was removed on grounds of stated misbehavior. Regulations as
a breach of the constitution then should not.
There is no breach.
A breach.
Where is the breach? What article of the constitution has been breached? Show me one. Native. What article of the constitution has
his
been
argument
breached?
is that
we read 296C, and I've read to you Ransford France, the Supreme Court, the laws of Ghana, the hierarchy of laws, Article 11. State decisis, judicial precedent. It's a source of law.
Yes.
There's a decision of the Supreme Court. It has not been set aside.
Yes.
And that is authority on 296C. You don't need regulations, And yes, in every part of the Constitution where may is used,
there should be the publication.
We should publish. How absurd!
By regulation can be published.
How absurd!
To guide exercise
absurd.
of discretionary powers in general. No?
Yes,
that has not been done.
Massa, me say is that provided under Article 146? Nobody says you need to publish regulations before you can suspend the Chief Justice pending a. BBA said you. BBA said 146 is clear. The president acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State may by a warrant under his hand suspend the Chief Justice. And it's not a president who will say I was saying publishing regulation. Meanwhile, that article you are quoting, has been interpreted by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says that is not the meaning. And she said, baby, you better be discretionary power be and I was here or publishing regulations, and the absence of that regulations, does not void the exercise of that discretion. This is right. But Obi, yeah, quiet, Mami Siso said, "Dear President Mahama, me two chairman. What she said, we nipa kukudufo. Now what she said, even though he's not vindictive, even though he's a man of love, a very forgiving person, a man of no bitterness in him, what she said, his fidelity, his loyalty is to the Constitution. If anybody was ever in doubt about President Mahama's commitment loyalty, fidelity to the constitution. Ni evidence ni. Wamaya who say Ghana will be a shemrase. Wamaya who say Ghana kabima mi kabia mamoya yebui. We are governed by the rule of law and not the rule of one person, and that nobody is above the law. It's ochinebino. Constitution. I'm happy that that precedent has been set, and I'm happy that from the beginning, from Crane to Kankai, Papa and the Council of State edim raso pepe. Now obi no say no masuko. Share. Because me the president cannot talk about. Nobody can talk about this, and me I'm happy because I did not intercept the petitions. And there could be because Sammy Gyemfi ebe abainti no enu nyaye. Where the anti-Araba ankasa responses on obi dum bie obi boa me na menya bi obi ensem na womu de ani anyan omo
na response na ni enya
response no ko enya
allegations
response no more damning than the allegations response no, because in the responses of the Chief Justice she clearly admits to stated misbehavior, clearly admits to unlawful conduct. Clearly, my example.
You are prejudicing the process.
Oh, prejudicing what process?
But the process is about to start. He's now going to
make a committee. No one. I'm not tear me yepa. And I Assembly Supreme Court try and discuss the facts. And intimi analyze the facts.
The merits.
And we are not going into any merit. We are analyzing the facts. I'm for say you cannot suspend the People's Chief Justice in an opaque process. It is we are shedding light. Opaque process, no. And yet it's your mama ne pay and I suspend the Chief Justice will be anti wasem. So our constitution we are kind 146 article 1468. Now our lawyer say you can't remove the People's Chief Justice through an opaque process. Meanwhile, the constitution says you remove the Chief Justice through an opaque process.
That was established. I raised that
1 year and 2 kind 1468 kind.
No. I raised
one kind I'm kind me there.
No,
you see, you have lawyers because of politics coming on air to throw dust in the eyes of people.
I will read.
Just say on good President Mahama Hufi.
Sammy.
President Mahama na ye bibi osuma say.
That point,
article 1468.
That point was made 8. To him.
No.
His argument
1 year 2 kind.
Okay, sir, the government of many argument nye.
Also opaque, he kept on using opaque process. And you heard the say, ye Chief Justice,
I raised even the issue of Anas Anas when some of the judges took him to court. In that point is
question 296C. Okay, no, be who's the president. I made him raso pepe.
Already
constitution in the
we have it here.
Yes.
All proceedings under this article, which is article 146, shall be held in camera, and the justice or chairman against whom the petition is made is entitled to be heard in his defense by himself or by a lawyer or other expert of his choice.
Shall be held where? In camera. It means it is opaque. I don't know MPP lawyer what be radio to say I don't know you are removing the People's Chief Justice. Now Charlotte said they know Bafo you can say electoral commissioner and or NDC electoral commission and MPP electoral commission.
Okay.
Now let's go into the issues. Number 1. Yabo Chief Justice could do say because I will read responses or to any petitioner. The allegation is stated and the response is stated. O tu kwan akwa brochiri memo privates akwantuo ono ankasa na kwantuo bo free nipa mu yeden etu enye na dwuma eho akwantuo enye o mining ti na otu kwan ono ankasa na kwantuo private travel na judicial service won hyehyeye fa all members of the judicial service no o makwantuo so we Chief Justice na wo tu kwan wa wo pemu ko wa koye wa ade bi private akwantu a policy ni hye wo say nipa ba ko pe na betimi na tu kwan o bodyguard o security detail na betimi na tu kwan o bodyguard ono nko na betimi na tu kwan a aban be ye den e be fa ho ka sa wo di nipa foforo bi akwa wa na wo say wo fa ho ka
untimi ma bodyguard na ntina say mfo bi fofo
enko policy ne say eye wo nam say wo ko private ntino unu bodyguard pe Anti-Araba Chief Justice tu kwan akwa abruchira wakofa ne kunu asanso afa ne baba wanfa ba ko mienu ono ane private travel obi asable da wo salo edi susu o wakofa ne kunu tietete wakofa ne kunu ono ane response mo gitu that was a private trip wakofa ne kunu akofa ne baba
okay
atam Ghana sika twitwiri die be 2.8 billion old Ghana cedis ne chire obi
enye sa no must take can sika almost state your petition in them no
ne jai eh sika ne yesen
I don't know we use old Ghana cedis
na obi a tree platform me make new Ghana cedis wa omo mutie ne tete no dodo na no old no mutie ase be 2.6 billion cedis wa kukuru sika twitwiri die o de atwa ticket ama na ho business class watwa bia ma ne kunu aban sika o watwa bia ma ne ba o de akọ private trip private travel akọ abruchira akọ ginani vacation so akọ abruchira akọ jojo ne ho abruchiri akọ jojo ne ho afa wo baba usika bebrebe went me anto ticket wo de aban sika na ekotwa business class ticket ama wo baba any wukunu now they catch ba kumpoi and now they catch economy open business
yeah but
if we anything
the response to that
tie o twa we no kwa ma no so we e no san so fa Ghana sika e no san so chema wo mo per dm dollars massa asem way how can anybody defend this
no
what would the entire Council of State for Nina Ejitum Semame no? Ye rinse minimum. What time Ghana sika to 3 die and ye trap business class ticket ama wukunu. Ene wo baba. Asanso etua Ghana sika ma wo mo per diem in dollars. Enye see the simple. Obi na Ghana your mama no papa company and obi de company sika yesa enka wo mpamo no anentina Ghana ha politics inti yempe no kresa enti se John Mahama obi ofa ni chief justice na MPP for tie konwa so na nipa ko no ko yesi aka MPP for kom enka petition ba ke beka se yemhwemu ma me na nkasa agye tum Bible se wonu mu asem ne di bebu afo ye bisa no so ono ade ne pe e decide say privileges or what for official travels no obe use no for private travel assembly o kachira su akura keto akura onsero is a private trip the same as an official trip? You were not going on an official trip the okwakoya banjuma entianam za okoya banjuma ntino wo ho kwan sa wo fa nipa ba ko a oye o relative aban betua
enye necessarily with security.
Yes, a official. Yes.
And necessarily your security.
Yes.
If you can exchange your security with another.
Yes.
Person.
Because a official abai na esuma. Where you want also call baby. Oko na wo baby what if you do? You go vacation.
Oh, now so assemble now okay. Now president go vacation. And your vacation there na beach. That's propaganda.
No what's wari at all plate.
That's propaganda.
What's so vacation?
And your vacation there na that's propaganda.
What's wari at all plate. Enye na uko vacation ye sika na adiko vacation Ghana hiafo sika and who get through tokono who do kocha business class ticket ama wo baba ni ukuru na ka de twama ba kumpoe enti ni kuru no ontimi to ticket ye nyina yetu kwan wo nansi ya nko UK mai why not to take it now?
If the head of the executive extra comma parliament through the speaker say o taking an annual leave or kwama no near a private visit. Why they trying to take in your mind?
Yes. But to me, listen, but you say, private.
Yes.
Only with states with security detail, bodyguard. And
that's for a private.
Yes.
Are you saying with a private, no? And on a still on mine,
yes, the security. Yes. With security. But we call private now no bani ukunu kwa ye wawasemwa. What with the intent behind the policy? Because we call private and your mind now small. It was say about home buying, so we are giving you security. We will pay for your security to be there with you. A privilege that somebody in that high office is giving. But we call private office. I don't know call you no mind in your son for Swabia. Yanfa will ban you couldn't come on call day. Now would you take it in the economy when you business. Says can any mammy and papa dear. Who tell you as well per diem. There's a debut of war brooch will be a per diem, nature say. Ni kunu da sori bia o se $10 Ghana sika ne bada sori bia ne $1 ni near the amount ade achia $1 ni near the amount ade achia $1 ni dollars ne nko ekọ be $30,000 ya dini kwa asamo ba yo si o asam ba no me kwa kutua na masa ukowia enkwan nam wonkwan mu ne ye chew na ugyan nam ne tumu a omokro no ana waje atu osi o bai watwere memu bi se o kwakutu esika no da be na watwere memu no obi enti me say constitution na say nhwehwemu no ne petition mu nsem ni nyina yenye ne demo na ye say ye be kan de wo mu a obi nsem ni bi wo a wo bokura be fono ahwe aka asem we Ghana for kwa ntwen ma ye nye nhwehwemu no o me chisi maame no out of office ma me ka asem nchehwe obi ye frɛ no Ayanga Akologo o ye police ni penyi
police ni lawyer no osan
yes osan so ye lawyer Ayanga Akologo papa nka bi nhye mu akọ Supreme Court okopa atentene ne papa ikotena sia ena also people get emotional. You're a lawyer. Sometimes in court people can get emotional in court ena it's a decision dia Mami Chief Justice setting na konwa mu all kano enye papa ne de ena papa no na no kopaye ena okoka say this is not fair oko make comment bisa ena judge here then etse usually in court no nka judge be di ka bo kokko ukoso ye na wo disturb court na you see infashi contempt.
Yes,
but contempt ni po ye chewa ye de be wura daka mu wa assembly trial ni ama o hearing etie wa no asem. You cannot judge a man on head. It is the basic tenet of law, the odi or terem patem rule. You cannot judge a man on head. It's called the rules of natural justice. Obi.
yes.
Na Ayanga Akologo court. Ye judge a kasa manyane de papa ya no ko pae. Be hwe atem di dia Chief Justice didi papa. Yeah, papa basa tie me ye sie tie me ye na wo petition hu bi hu response make us what we di mechi
that incident no there was a report on that incident.
Yes oye ya no pasa tie me obi mami nwe me ko baby o wie ye no e na mami ne say Chief Justice say wache no dedua wache no enti court wona ye nche ne ani na asem ya misane say ya fana ya money kwa dukura na kampese wetime yi ne ho ano o say ya che no ya fana ko shape cells
na people dealing with issues we omu wia they will come and listen.
Ya de ni tumu ma de che ya de ni tumu ma de che just for saying something in court that any judge what the temperament to be a judge. A judge will believe in procedural fairness. A judge will believe in the rule of law, the rights of an accused person to be heard. A judge who believes in justice would have given this guy a hearing or even a warning. Who did nipa na kotum? And no problem. And you don't need boni o. Or did two mu wie ye no. Ena Ayanga Akologo check krata ba court so say. The other see court one say court asem be si obi aye twere e ko nwoma bi aye friend record of proceedings enti open record of proceedings because obetumi appeal a obehia record of proceedings so person will seek redress bia because o feel say he was not treated fairly. The only thing he has is a record of proceedings. Jayam ga twere krata say mama me record of proceedings no na ye hu say e bo so enso no Chief Justice ka so can say and some Chief Justice can find who need ye no. Yes. Kaye pesi who so didi na tema na when did na tem na ka be record of proceedings ni. Chief Justice my order say yen chine fa nkotu. okodem ma de kye enti okwa akosiki compensation because yan treating ye and our the family kwan we so anameboa Ayamga koya near the record of proceedings by ya delete ade na film. There is no record to say Chief Justice impu e kasa no ho court ho and Chief Justice e ma ya cheni tu. No record. The record of proceedings of that day has been falsified. It has been tampered with. Tiase mo obi. It won nuane Ayamga klogwa. And now the petition akoma President Mahama say mo yakwa. Enti ka wo beka say Chief Justice oburu mra so ye special chenga na fo nyina. Enti ba ye hwe na semu. MPP for no mo kasa no. Say omo and I yedi omo ko tumu just like that, whimsically, capriciously, arbitrarily, like it happened to Ayamga Aklogo that day, a police officer who has served his nation, a lawyer. Omoni yedi yo omo akebe yo mo de. Yedi as quite do ibo Chief Justice near Bisano. Chief Justice say, oh, and you don't go and boo asem no. Now you're president of the panel until collective responsibility.
But that is true.
Okay. But collective responsibility doesn't mean that you, an individual, cannot be held responsible. There is a reason why the petitioner could have petitioned against the removal of all the members of the panel. And he has the discretion to pick on one. Because those who were in court, eyewitnesses say all the judges were quiet. Some even looked on in shock and amazement.
But you would also realize on the...
And the judges,
hold on.
Once the Chief Justice is the president of the court, they can't disagree with her openly in court.
No, but you don't.
They can't do that.
You know, the judges are men and women of stature, and they are not whipped in line by the Chief Justice. That is not.
Hey, Mr.
You know,
the fact collective responsibility does not absorb you, a partaker of that collective responsibility, from personal responsibility.
But you also know, based on reporter Makai on the Law Hub and other platforms, no, say on that very day, even senior lawyers in court stood up and begged the court on behalf of their colleague lawyer Ayamga, and some of them even said in open court about the behavior in court, he being a lawyer and all of that. You think Sammy Gyemfi do not matter?
And the Chief Justice did not. So the fact that she incarcerated him, and not quite the issue. Okay, in any case, why was he not given a hearing? The issue here is that he was not given a hearing.
Yeah.
There you can talk about collective responsibility, which also means that the Chief Justice is liable. The all can say nyame nkwa me ye doso. Na ye doso no nkyere say nipa 10 na moko am robbery ni achi mu ba ko ntimi nka say ya ye bo kro no na ye du nti mache me mu nyaime obi obetimi akasa. Good. Then no nanchen no osan so say enyo no na prepare record of proceedings. Hey, no mo mu ye adwuma wo ni nyino mu ye adwuma ma wan o mo hye wan ase. Enti asebna no nti won wodi enti apama fasi wo no enu nti na wose ye kohwehwem because the committee ni hwehwem a ye be frɛ clerk naba e bia registrar kwa beba e ye then asem kese say etimi see court na ama record of proceedings mo. It was so conspicuous, it was so significant to be omitted. Why was it not captured? Now president of the panel no so anything wrong with that. And one na bia bi
you know sometimes no in court, when court no chastise you be an sana, they can say this should not be on record.
This one is not one of them. Would you be a costume without a hearing? You can omit it from the record. So what, you are a lawyer. Yes. So then what recourse, what redress can Aklogo Ayamga seek? Yeah, they want to me without even hearing you, and there is no record that you were imprisoned. You don't see anything wrong with that. Obi, yedi yewu nuane ade a yedi yewu enya wo de no. Obi. Hwese yedi be yobi. Ayamga Aklogo deserves justice. He deserves justice. There are many people in jail today. Many people who have suffered like that because Obi who saw a demigod because of the privilege of the office he or she occupies. And I'm not just talking about Gitri. Many people like that. And they can just change your destiny.
And you are saying, sir, the real issue with this allegation, no, with the record of proceedings now anchor.
You have falsified it. At least and I wouldn't say we are the power. The record of proceedings should contain it.
Because saying that point I was making now, I would have told you go.
Why is it even flawed?
Why is it flawed?
A judge has judicial immunity.
Yes.
Meaning say, to be court.
Sure.
For the decision what take in the exercise of the judicial function.
Yes.
But he doesn't have constitutional immunity for judicial acts. That is why a judge is not immune from the remit or the jurisprudence of Article 146.
Nobody has said
because Article 146 is about competence,
yes,
and stated misbehavior.
Yes.
And my reading the meaning of stated misbehavior, and it is a mrach rene say, Udobi kotu. I was a wutie na no asem. Now when tie na no asem na de no kotu mu a, you the judge, you have misbehaved. What do you mean? Because I have judicial immunity, so you can't do anything.
Yeah, but
the person cannot take you to no. Listen.
A subject for judicial review.
Yes. Good. I'm here. To my mind, I'm quoting verbatim. To my mind, this means that if a person is required by the law,
yes,
to perform a specific official function or duty in a particular way, but fails or neglects to do so, then the person may be said to have misbehaved in that regard.
Yeah, but that would be an orbiter, isn't it?
No. This is the ratio for her to have come to the conclusion that the petition for the removal of Charlotte Osei disclosed a prima facie case. Yes. Now also defining what is stated misbehavior. Nor her say petition in miti on the face of it, there is a case to answer. It be that definition of stated misbehavior. Yes. So this is the meaning of the two stated misbehavior. So to my mind, this means that if a person is required by the law to perform a specific official function or duty in a particular way, but fails or neglects to do so, then the person may be said to have misbehaved in that regard. And demanding what is stated misbehavior, your precedents are defining in line with the same Article 146. Who is ultimately? And dear Nama Nugusu I made sure and say Article 146 and they said dear well person you two chief justices are there so on for petition come on penny and in so you stated misbehavior or incompetence. Or that decision in Muswa you define incompetence under Article 146. Now on penny ni petition na only Council of State yaka Council of State awunim enye ekuo ketuo Ghana penyinfo ebi ahemfo akese a yato abayi omo se omo ye penyinfo a omo wo nyansa nti omo nkutu o man penyinfo omo nya ndisi omo nya mpp e no mote wo e wo so man penyin ni omo dwen ho se kwadu a ye de abo chief justice no on the face of it no abawom ana abanim sa abawom a akanfo ka sa abawa asem bi mu a na je sa asem no just say you bunhwehwemu prima facie ya ka nyina na de na kire enkire so bi difo ana obi di bem de kire nyina ne se kwadu ya nipa kroi ni nkro ya wabeboyi ene de abo no kwadu no so na no yi a wode abe wo hwe a asem bi wo ho e wo se hwehwemu ana obeyi ano ana prima facie ni nyina no the president na nyo no nko na take this decision no on the Council of State ya mpanyinfo kuku dan yi nyina gwom omunya ndisi omunya mpp na kwotena se no ko tie omafutuo ni omadwe nkyere owi a ono so do na de ato so hwe na asem na ba wo mu a na wo se ye mu hwehwemu a na afeidie wa refer asem nyo no mampanyin na behwehwem e de akoma ba so ku a nipa wo mu ye enum 5 member committee
no man penny be put it
together. Now committee ni mu mienu e was omo ye justices of the superior court.
Yes.
Na emu miensa de omo nye lawyers, omo nye members of the Council of State, omo nye mrashi bedwafo. Into ordinary Ghanaians miensa. So on say na constitution omo si twere no. Na omo na be kwa kwotena asem no so adom asoko atie obi ano ayo omo hwehwemu. Na omo de omo decision aba say chief justice no yentu na de so anama yentu na de so. Ejo mampanyi Mahama betena konwa so onka bi hyem. Maami a ye ka ne ho asem chief justice. Eye Getru Tokono. Mampanyi Akufo-Addo penso mpo petitions bebre ba se yentu na de so. Enye president Mahama ne ba ya na obi di petition akoma no. Mebo ana.
That's true.
From President Akufo-Addo preso petitions ni bi wo okra ya ante ho asem.
Say what's our take one.
No. When the president makes the prima facie determination, whether positively or negatively, he must communicate it to the petitioner. In some cases, they were ignored. The petitions were not even acted upon. Yeba be fra ban mu a Professor Kwaku Azande ba akoko e na omampanyidin na no ye ba se wahwehwem ababi animu a ese fata se yekohwehwe yekohwehwem. But there were several petitions for the removal of this particular chief justice, even under the MPP. President Mahama ba ye ya miensa enye ba ko miensa na nkrofo mo the petition na kono obi. These are not even politicians. Nkrofo o de na yebedi nkomo so mo say process na ni say you pick yen kana bonten ye be kana bonten so
ba o kana bonten so ayo
na me president
me nkasa we
they said your MPP vote me ko intercept petitions e de be to abonten no
na say there are rumors as it
me dey rumor Getru Tokono suspended chief justice na no year to all the petitions have intercepted it.
You have intercepted.
Oh, I've intercepted.
Now, do you have the petition itself?
Oh, Massa. Media me say the free anti-Getty hono, anti-Araba ho. Eba mampenyi Mahama ona enu okra na me intercept enti bi ni bi ewu nyina. E na wo beti wasu mu asem wa obi. Tie me. Sa enkrofo yo mo de petitions na kono. Enkrofo a omo do Ghana, omo hu se maame na ye bibia tia Ghana mbra. Na eni se chief justice yesa. Enkrofo a maame na nkasa wode ntanchi adi omo ya utie bi asem a wo betiti ni suo ntanchi a
maame na second as a sole judge
a
president of
which tie
well kasa maame na
ntanchi a wode adi omo yes and omo this petition yakomo mampanyi Mahama mampanyi Mahama say boy me na mitimi ba bi me bu mi mai na we amakofa be Council of State mampanyi ntimi nkasa o. Nobody is above the law. The Chief Justice is not above the law. She's under the law. Article 146 here clear. Petitions back for the removal of the Chief Justice. I was saying free. As to whether or not as a there is a prima facie case to be determined. The president followed the law or Council of States or the petitions Council of States in fact Osanso edge permission from the Council of States and Sakura no offer where the petitions now then I'm the Chief Justice at the time and Sana the Chief Justice Edina nu ye then yedi kan ba and Sana Osanso what the piece to supplementary response Osanso di bia then abeka o no man permit J response ni no the Council of States. Council of State Quatnasia, omoye 31. Emumu aduasa 30 of them. Say mami, baby. They are okay there, they have ye. Petition where they are bawu papa. Nipa 30 out of 31.
How did you know?
Oh, Makacho, go and do your checks. Me see my intercept. 30
voted for
ahemfo akasia je say to be omonya politics impo me pesa woti ade bia say because MPP for no kasa they talk as if say obi mpe maame na say na politics inti osa udi bone na ukru ayema na ukru ayema wo
omo kasa because of nsema amo kan in opposition say maame we dey ba akọ
na NDC ni bia afile petition NDC ni bia file petition NDC jo mama na say General Mosquito na Sammy Gyemfi na General Secretary of NDC ko gina ye fan de ka say ye ba ma me ne beko ye gina ye ne ka za ye me petitioner me the petition akọ say ye mpa mo ma me araba na omo ama mi di ntanchi adu omo ni to obi o ka omo kasa bo ahwo musu say ye ahwo mu yem say ye mo omo sambro musu because this Chief Justice is a demigod and above the law na say wa ye bibi no obi nim say tia ga na mra Yentimi invoke the Constitution because Ono is special and she's above the law. Is that what people are saying in this country? Are we governed by the rule of law or the rule